It's me, Aridos, that you can call me Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Listen, there is one defect, there is one dysfunctional attitude that most people in the world have. Not all people, by exception, you will encounter some people here and there who don't have this dysfunction, they grow out of it. But the following dysfunction I'm about to mention is the rule in the human species. And it's kind of embarrassing, but I have to admit it. The dysfunction I'm talking about is the reluctance of us humans to admit that something is off with our community. Okay, why does it often happen that scam artists and con artists get away conning and scamming people? Look at those cases where people were conned or scammed. And 9 out of 10 times, you'll notice that, hold on a minute, the con or the scam that the fraudster or the individual that was lying was enacting was not even convincing. You think, how does individual fall for this? But this is why we often fall for scams and cons so easily, even when the scam or con is not convincing at all. We do not want to admit there's something off with the community around us. Why not? Because we know deep down inside we're community creatures and we need the community to be functional for us. If something is wrong with one or two individuals, you can just avoid those two individuals. Or you can call the police to get them arrested, to put them in prison, or to put them in a mental asylum, and you can continue. But if there's something wrong with the community around you, if there's a collective thing that's wrong, that's something more complicated to solve, if it's possible to solve it to begin with. So admitting that something is off with our community means that we have to look differently at everyone around us. But it also means that, hold on a minute, we are part of this community. We are affected and sometimes even shaped by this community. So if something's wrong with the community, that means also something wrong with us. And oh my goodness, that's a confrontation we don't want to go through. It's quite painful, quite shocking. So anytime we notice that something is off with our community, there are two things we often do. We either look for some mystical explanation in which we blame everything on a single villain, or we act as if we haven't seen it, we haven't heard it, as if nothing goes on. Mystifying the issue implies we blame one individual for the whole dysfunction, even when it's clear that one individual cannot be responsible for the whole dysfunction of the community. For example, let's say that there's an issue with drug addicts in your community. You see drug addicts out there. Some of them are homeless, some of them are college students, or whatever. You have drug addicts, and they're drug dealers. Now, what goes on? You have this individual, the drug dealer, who takes advantage of the emotional dysfunction of those people. And that's why those people end up addicted, because something internally in them is not functioning. Well done. Those people that became drug addicts, they were born in the community. They grew up in the community. What went wrong that they ended up as addicts? Something in their upbringing went wrong. So the community failed its own members. That's why they end up like that. Because if the community was looking after its members properly, then those people would have gotten therapy and the drug dealer wouldn't have been successful. But hold on a minute. To admit that the community failed its own members, well, that's something incriminating to admit. And a lot of people don't want to hear this. They get upset. So some people become violent, want to go off at people with fist fights, or they pick up guns or knives, whatever, Some people really lose their mind if you call them out on being neglectful. Because we know that a lot of people don't take it well when you call them out for being neglectful, we don't want to come to the conclusion that the community fails its own members. We tend to focus solely on the drug dealers, and we begin to become obsessed with getting rid of the drug dealers. And then you have politicians playing into this. You have politicians coming up with things as zero tolerance in crime, or there was even this political figure in Brazil that suggested executing all drug dealers, killing them. I believe in some Southeast Asian country there was a similar thing going on, and the public was cheering it on. Hold on a minute. The drug dealer is wrong, absolutely, but he is just taking advantage of a problem that the community keeps in place. Why is the community who's keeping the problem in place not addressed? Because if the community would have done something about their own members if neglected, there wouldn't be any drug trade, there wouldn't be any drug dealers. I'm not saying this to act like the drug dealer is innocent. No, he's not. He's part of the problem. But it's a problem the community put there. Why is the community never addressed? As long as the community is not addressed and the community doesn't change for the better, the same problem will occur. So being so focused on a drug dealer will only make the problem worse. Because now you're going to have a street culture that's now developed on avoiding the police. That street culture may even appeal to more young people. And it goes on and on and on. Look, that's just one example in which people mystify the problem. Now, let's say now that there is a boy, 11 years old, he comes to school, but he has blue spots, and his hand is broken. Some of his fingers have to be held together by Band-Aid. And the boy claims he fell off his bicycle. But everyone can say, hold on a minute. You cannot fall off your bicycle and have a blue eye like that. And your finger's broken. So everyone knows, okay, this child's being abused. But here's the thing. That 11-year-old boy is from a quote-unquote good neighborhood. And according to the viewpoint of the public, people from such neighborhoods are well off. Two-parent households, both parents have nice jobs, some parents are entrepreneurs. So the public has this fetish that those neighborhoods are where the wealthy people are. Why? Because worldlings are obsessed with duality. They expect child abuse to take place in ghettos. If the 11-year-old boy came from a ghetto, they would have been more comfortable accept the fact he's being abused at home. But the fact he's from a so-called well-off family, it conflicts the expectation of the public. For them to admit that in a well-off neighborhood financially, there are people abusing children means they have to change how they see the world. And the thing is, the public has been looking down on people from the ghetto just to get the high that they're better off. So for someone from well-off, so-called financially well-off family to be abused by his parents, this will destroy the narcissistic supply. They get looking down on ghettos. And will people go against their own narcissistic supply and having to face themselves? No, they don't want that. So in this case, they will pretend as if the boy actually fell off the bicycle. So even pretend like the boy even faked it, or they act like they haven't seen anything. Because when admit this fact, this 11-year-old boy is being abused and is from a family that's financially well off, it destroys the whole mindset of the public. This boy is proof that their assumption of reality isn't true. But their whole lives is based on the assumption that people that are financially well off are better, more disciplined people. So you may have people from the ghetto saying, dude, what happened? No, don't tell me you fell off your bicycle, man. Don't come with bullshit. Who beat you up? And the boy admit was his dad. People from the ghetto who know the mess they're in will admit it. But other people in society who look down on the ghetto just preserve their own quote-unquote sanity, but not having to process the fact that the world around them is not as organized and safe as they persist it to be. They will either turn on that 11-year-old boy, or they will act like they haven't seen anything. That's how a lot of sexual molestation of children is also covered up, because people don't want to go there. That's how it goes in the world. When people have to admit there's something off with the community, Their attitude is, no, 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 no. We're not going there. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. I don't want to be bothered. That's their attitude. And this is why worldlings are so easily set up. That's why worldlings are so easily taken advantage of. Because they don't stop and look at the whole situation. Because worldlings are not in to look at the whole situation, you can easily come with facts and trick them into some bad situation. For example, there was this guy once who was accused by some woman that he abused her. Normally, the police has to take the complaint, they have to examine the complaint, and then if it's credible, then with the consent of the courthouse, they act. If they do their research and figure out that the complaint does not add up, they'll either charge the woman for filing false police reports, or they'll just dismiss it. In this case, this guy was just arrested in a wild way in public, his reputation destroyed, and later found out it was all a lie. Can they give the guys back the days he spent in jail? The days he's going to go to work? Can they give him back his reputation? People perceive him? No. But guess what? People already assumed he must be guilty, because in their mind, the police doesn't come to arrest you unless there's something on you. Okay, there was something on him, but was it true? No. They say, well, the police would have done a good job. They keep defending the police, because in their mind, they were taught as children, police there to protect the community. So to admit that the police can act on impulse at the expense of a citizen, that means it can happen to them too. So the whole ease of just trusting the police is now disrupted. So even if the guy is proved to be innocent, they're still going to blame him for it happening to him, instead of meaning, well, he's a victim over here. The woman shouldn't file that false report against him, and the police should check the report first before they act on it. Instead of admitting that the community failed that man, they'll still blame him just to preserve their own ease. That is how worldlings are. Now, of course, there are exceptions. People saying, come on now, what type of horrible crap is this? Someone files a complaint against you, they don't even investigate, they just act out against you. And now you have to deal with all the consequences. What the heck is that? And people keep defending the law enforcement instead of making law enforcement failed. At least admit they failed, give them financial compensation, and improve law enforcement then. Some people say this is how people admit how narcissistic society is. You have to always behave, be on time, quote unquote, respect other people, but when it comes to you, you're an option. There are people who will admit this. But often the people that admit this are shunned by other people. I just want to point this out to you. Worldlings do not want to address things that are controversial or that reveal that the people around them are not trustworthy. They don't want to go there. They will always avoid such topics. And if they do address such topics, it will always be in a conspiracy theorist fetish. That's what I mean with mystify the problem. They will either fall into the category of looking for conspiracy theories and be obsessed with those, or they will just brush off the topics when it's possible. So, stop believing you can just trust people just because you assume they want what's best. Now, there are people who want what's best out there. Absolutely, they exist. But even they can be fooled. Okay? Doesn't mean they're bad people, no, but they can be fools too. And this thing, some people don't even want what's best, just want to escape. How do you expect people who want to escape to have integrity towards you? They will not. They don't even have integrity towards themselves. So, keep walking by faith, keep agreeing with Christ, and keep your eyes open. Don't just trust people because you would have done what's best. That's you. That's not them. Be at peace.